Number one is Apple. Happy birthday, Apple, 50 years old. We're going to talk a little bit about Steve Jobs. Read his biography, Walter Isaacson. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Number two is Ballroom Brawl. Donald Trump, President Trump's duking it out. Right? They're telling him he can't build this ballroom on the East Wing. All right. Number three, fly me to the moon. Well, no, we're not talking Frank Sinatra. Artemis, goddess of the moon, is leaving today, doing a 10-day vacation. Going to go twice around the earth and then loop around the moon. We'll talk a little bit about that. That's at 6:24 today. Let me tell you, a bucket list item for me is to watch a liftoff from Kennedy Space Center. That would be awesome. But first, ABCs, how'd you guys do? All body workout, blissful sleep, colorful diet. I'm getting 2.5 checks today. Went to the gym. I got my favorite friend returned, Mr. Payne. Let me tell you, 97% humidity here in Indy today, and I'm feeling it. The back, down the leg. So what do you do? Got to get in half a workout. I think I did about 80%. So you got to get it in regardless. Hey, just do it, or I got 2 words for you. Show up. Those are my favorite. But yeah, in terms of food, again, my usual eggs, kale, apple, slept well. So that's it. You got to hit those first. All right, let's jump right into this. Apple turns 50 today. I remember when I brought a computer back in the 90s. I bought an Apple. I was the first guy over at Massey Knackle. Give a shout out to Bob Knackle. I was the first one to have a computer in that office. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so April 1st, 1976. I was in 96 20 years later. But 76, these 3 guys signed paperwork in a Los Altos, California garage. 12 days later, Ronald Wayne, he left. It left Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Jobs was the salesman. Woz was the builder. Again, I read Walter Isaacson's. His book was based off of 40 interviews, more than 40 interviews with Steve. He interviewed over 100 family members over a 2-year period. All right, let me read you this. A little bit of a run-on sentence, but this is what it says on Amazon. You could buy the hardcover for $12, guys. I recommend it. Let me tell you, this guy was one of a kind. They broke the mold when they made Steve Jobs, but and he was ballsy. You know, I remember in the book, he would call up and go get parts at Oracle, I think. He had no fear. Here we go. It says it's a riveting story of the roller coaster life and seemingly intense personality of a creative entrepreneur whose passion for perfection and ferocious drive revolutionized 6 industries: PCs, animated movies, music, phones, tablet computing, and digital publishing. All right, what's the key word here? Perfection. I'm going to use a slogan that Michael Milken. I worked for Drexel Burnham Lambert back in the day in the late 90s. Before they went bankrupt, Michael Milken was already banned from the firm. You want to go read about junk bonds. Read Michael Lewis's book. Anyway, we won't get into that, but he said, perception becomes reality, right? So Jobs was all about perfection, because if you perceive it, he wasn't the first. They weren't the first to develop this device, this computer, but he's like, we're going to be the best. We're going to be the best. We're going to look the best. We're going to feel the best. Everything he did was quality, highest quality possible. So I like that. So think different. Some of his slogans, stay hungry, stay focused. But here's what I like about what Jobs said. You should read that book. You want to learn more about him. But he said this: your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. How true is that? You got to seek your passion. Forget about what the norm is. Forget about what your parents think you should do. Hey, back in the day, I talked about guitar, owning a guitar. Here's a quick true story. When I was 13 years old, we're talking 1976. I used to go across the yard. Jimmy Sorrenzio, I used to go in his basement. They had a band. It's like Springsteen was, that kind of music. And I would watch these guys play. So I came home. I said, Dad, I want a guitar. So he went and got me a guitar. Like 2 days later, I had this guitar. Then he sees me. I'm like playing the guitar. And then about a month later, he took the guitar away. He's like, nah, my father, old school Sicilian. He's like, you're not going to play guitar. No. You're smart. You're going to go to college. You're going to play baseball. So, I flirted with rock stardom, but no way. All right, let's talk about this ballroom brawl. All right. I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but we're talking about a $400 million East Wing project that, quote, it's a federal judge came down. He wrote a 35-page opinion. He said, you need to stop until Congress blesses the project. Well, good luck with that. But let me tell you, I don't know whether you like the man or not, but one thing I could say about Donald Trump is he is an A-plus real estate developer. Everything he touches turns to gold when it comes to real estate. Go see his properties. Honolulu. I've been to so many of them. New York, Chicago, Honolulu. Any project of Donald Trump, go inside. Tell me that's not the highest quality possible. So I don't know. I don't get it. These are 5 things I wrote down, okay? And I spent 5 years, by the way, guys, another one of my careers. I've had so many. I spent 5 years as a real estate developer rehabbing historic landmark properties in these inner city markets. So I know how difficult it is to do A-plus work. It's costly, it's difficult, but when you achieve it, oh, it's amazing. But how about this? We need a ballroom. Without a doubt, we need a ballroom. Number 2, it's not costing us anything. It's not coming out of my pocket. It's not costing us anything. What's a big deal? Okay, number 2, he's the right developer for the job. He's the right guy for the job for sure, and he lives in the building. Hey, I mean, he's right there. It's not like he lives 3,000 miles away. Number 4, I think it's going to be a great stop on the White House tour. Anybody ever do that? It's worth doing. I mean, I'd love to see it. Number 5, I hope I get invited to the ballroom one day. I mean, all these emissaries coming. I mean, I think we need a ballroom. But again, what are your thoughts? We're not paying for it. So why do we need approval from a bunch of people? I don't know, guys. There's a reason why I'm not a politician. I don't know. But speaking of spending hundreds of millions, I don't know. Hey, by the way, guys, I appreciate your thoughts. All you new guys, leave your comments. Let me hear what you have to say. I'll respond back. Don't be mean. Don't be obnoxious. Don't use curse words. That's not really my thing. So, here we go. Artemis Chu, goddess of the moon. Talk about spending money. All right. I've been doing a little work on these numbers. Number cruncher. Hey, went to Wharton finance guy. First of all, let me say this. I was working at Goldman Sachs. I was on their trading desk in Philadelphia. It was January 28th, 1986. I started work there in July of 85. 86, I remember I was trading options at the time. I thought I was the big swinging you-know-what. I don't know. I lost 2,000. I remember that day I lost 2,000 because the Challenger exploded. The saddest part was Krista McCullough. She was a teacher. She was the first woman to go on teacher to go. I remember when that blew up, the market's kind of cratered, but it was something that occurs, but they're doing it now. They're going to go at 6:24 tonight because that's optimal conditions to take off. There's a 2-hour window, by the way. Again, I'd love to see it, but so they're going to loop around the earth twice and then around the moon. All right, to the tune of about $125 billion. Well, they say it's 93 to 105 billion to get us here, 4 billion just for the launch itself. But basically, and you add another 20 billion we talked about for the lunar, call it 125 billion with a B. Okay. And this is the first one in 50 years. But in 1972, I was 9 years old at the time. But, I want to know why. So I always ask these questions. Why? You guys watch my show. I talked about space. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. What are we doing? We're validating life support, navigation, and deep space systems before future landing missions. So basically, it's a test run. We're going around the moon for a test run, okay? And we're going to spend all this money to do it, to establish a long-term human presence on the moon, right, with this lunar base. Yeah, I got it. One giant step for mankind. But I question that. I do. Because I say this. Ask yourself this, right? So there's 270 million adults in the United States over the age of 18. Okay. If we could take that 125 billion, divide it, it's coming up to like close to $500. So if someone came to you today and said, listen, you need to give me $500 because we're going to do this test thing around the moon, and then we're going to put people on the moon 10 years from now. We're going to have a lunar base, which probably be cost overruns, time overruns, so maybe 15 years. Okay, I'm 63. 15 years from now, I'm 78 years old. Do I really care about what people are doing on the moon? Well, I don't know. What about you? What about you? But if you're 70 or 80 years old today, somebody came to you for $500, I don't think you're giving them the money. So instead, this is what I say. Let's take that $125 billion. There's 12 million single parents in the United States. There's about 12 million. That's $10,000 per person. So someone came to me and said, hey, Rich, you got a choice. You could spend 500. We're going to go to the moon. So 10 years from now, we're going to be people living on the moon, and maybe 30 years from now on Mars. Or you could give $10,000 to a single mom that could go to childcare. She gets a credit for $10,000 to handle childcare. Guess what? I'm picking the woman all day long. I want to give the money to the children. Hey, that's what I'm about. But I get it. We got a moon program, space program, all that. But hey, I'm not a space guy. Right? All right, guys, let's have some fun today. But what is it about? The 3 Tola takeaways, of course. Got to respect the ABCs. That's your foundation. Work out every single day. Been doing that for 50 years. And I was 13. It's no bullshit. All right, diet, of course. Got to eat well. Because you know everything that you put in your mouth. You can control it. And finally, number 2. What's our number 2? Pick up the phone, call somebody, make a difference, spread your love. And number 3, always be willing to accept another person's opinion. Hey, if you think we should spend another $500 billion in going into space, that's awesome. Love to hear your thoughts. Why do we want to go in? What's it going to do maybe for future generation? What, 100 years from now? Who's moving to the moon? I'm never going to move to the moon. But anyway, hey, it's all good because each one of us has our own opinion. All right, guys, have an awesome day today on your April 1st Fool's Day. Get your workout in. Peace.